Everyone, Nadine Briggs here, Building Adult Friendships. Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about some of the pitfalls that could be causing you to lose your friendships. So here at Building Adult Friendships, we're all about friendship. We're all about building friendships. But every now and again, a friendship falls apart and we lose a friend. Sometimes it's deliberate and we just feel like that person isn't really serving us any longer. But sometimes it's when we don't even realize that we did something that's causing our friend to leave us. So let's explore some of the reasons for that to see if we can, first of all, avoid that in the future and maybe even repair some of the friendships that you have lost. The silent killer to most friendships is just a lack of communication. Friendship takes effort and it's reciprocal. So we really do need to stay in touch with somebody on a regular basis in order to really maintain that connection and that friendship. There are some friends that might not talk to each other for several months and then they get back together and it's like things have never changed, which is wonderful when that happens. But more often than not, that's not the case. You really do need to nurture those friendships and keep those lines of communication open. You need to know what's going on in your friend's life and they need to know what's going on in your life on a regular basis. And just doing that check in is what keeps a friendship healthy. So, for example, if you text somebody or you reach out to somebody and they don't respond to you, think about how that feels for you. I personally can't stand that. It really makes me feel like I'm not an important person to them. And I think that's what happens when you send a text out to somebody and it's just kind of you feel ghosted. Nobody's really answering you. That's going to start to hurt the friendship. And let's say that happens, a few times, distanced apart. So it's not just a few times in a row. That's no big deal. People get busy. That's forgivable. But when it does kind of develop into a pattern where you are texting somebody, they're not answering, or they're taking a really long time to get back to you, or when they do get back to you, they're not really following up what's going on with you, that's a little bit of a sign there's something really maybe not right with that friendship, or maybe the other person might start to be losing interest in the friendship that they have with you. Don't wait for that perfect moment to reconnect. Don't wait for something really exciting to invite them to in order to reach out to them. Like even if you're not doing anything, you could just send a quick text, "Hey, been thinking about you. How you doing? What's new? Haven't talked to you in a while." Just sending a text that you're thinking about somebody is really all that it takes. You don't need to have some big event that you're going to go to together or anything like that. Just showing them that you're thinking about them goes a really long way. The second thing is kind of the trap of the one-sided relationship. It can feel a little bit like there's givers and there are takers. And there are some people who just don't reciprocate in a way that makes you feel like it's both a give and take. They're just taking and you're the one doing all of the giving. And so it becomes a little lopsided in that way. And over time, that person who keeps inviting you and keeps texting you and keeps contacting you and being the one to do that, they're going to tire of that. And eventually you're going to see those things start to stop. And they just don't want to keep engaging with somebody who's not going to give them the same in return. So just that lopsidedness can really harm a friendship over time. So you might want to ask yourself, do I listen as much as I talk? And do I check in? Is it a 50-50 relationship? And that's really what you want to shoot for. You do want it to be equal. Now, sometimes when it comes to doing things together, let's say people having people over at each other's houses, there are some people, and you might relate to this, who there's something about their home that they're uncomfortable with inviting people to it. And sometimes it's just that, oh, they need to replace the couch. It's ripped. Or they don't have a really tidy home. And maybe you keep a really neat house and they're concerned that the neatness difference is just a little bit too much. Or maybe there's a pet in the home that is kind of, barking when people get there a lot, or bothering guests when they come and they have to be either put in a bedroom or they're just jumping all over their guests, something like that. Those types of things will make somebody not want to invite people over to their home. But if you have a really good friend, then I would say, no, those things don't really matter. I know it's hard to imagine that they don't matter if they matter to you, but really they don't matter. I always say pretty clean is good enough. If I have some bills on my counter that I haven't paid, or if I have a rip in my couch, maybe I just flip over the cushion or something so that people don't really see that. Or I might just say, oh gosh, yeah, I gotta get a new couch someday. Sorry about the tear. I might just say that I acknowledge it so that they're not like, oh geez, look at her couch. Right. But that would not prevent me from having friends over. And I know that is a deal breaker for some people. So just some things to think about that it really should be 50-50. Whatever barriers that you have in your mind, try to just get over those or find a way to get over those so that you still keep the friendship alive. The power of apologizing and being self aware. So if you're kind of getting an inkling that somebody's angry with you, or maybe they're just flat out not responding to you, there's no delay in the response, they're just flat out ghosting you. There might be something that you said or did that you're not aware of, or maybe you are aware of it, and it needs to be apologized for, or you just need to reach out and you'd be like, no, are we cool? Like, did something happen? Is there something I need to apologize for? Like, if you're not sure, you can always ask that question. It can feel a little uncomfortable at first, but if it means you're going to lose a friend over this, it's probably a good idea. And maybe nothing happened at all and it's something else entirely. And if that's the case, wonderful. But just to kind of check in and show a little humility there and ask that question, like, is there something that I did that upset you, or is there something that's wrong in our friendship, just so you can apologize for whatever that is and then hopefully move on from that. So if some of this has been true for you, just think to yourself, how can I change? How can I improve and be a better friend to somebody else? And you might even want to say to some of your friends, you know what? I feel like I haven't really been as present for you as I'd like to be. And I've made a decision to really do more of that. And so I just want you to know, if I haven't been there, or I've been distant, or I have been non-responsive, that it's just not something, that's just not what I want to be in the future. And I hope you forgive me for that. And like, we can get our friendship back on track. Certainly, you want to make sure that you are in the future then doing that and checking in with people and being present for them, and making sure you're keeping that connection alive. So I recognize that sometimes life just gets busy, right? Like, we don't mean to lose touch with people, but you're crazy busy with, maybe you have kids at home, maybe you're caring for an elderly parent, you're working full time, maybe you're in you're in some kind of transition, you're moving. A lot of different things that can be going on to make us lose touch with people. So it's one of those things. So cut yourself some slack when those things are happening, but make sure that if that is happening, say to your friends, hey, I've been a little out of pocket lately. I've got some stuff going on, but I want to make sure we get together and do something real soon. And again, if you're just sitting there watching TV at night, or you're scrolling through social media, you have time also to just to text a friend and say, hey, it's been a minute. How you been? Let's get together for coffee in another few weeks. I'm really busy because I'm moving right now, but let's make sure we get together and catch up. So just to make sure that you're doing those things, you're staying positive, you're engaged in the friendship, and you are giving as much as you're taking. Friendship is honestly one of the most fulfilling parts of life. We all need it. We need it for our mental health and well being. And it's just fun to be around other friends. So, the friendship work that we have to do is really important. And it does take work to maintain those friendships, but they're so, so fun. And they're there for you. They're there for you for the happy times, they're there for you for the sad times, and they're there for you just for the mundane times. So, it really is worth maintaining those friendships and keeping them alive. I'm curious if any of these tips ring true for any of you. And if they do, leave a comment in the comments section. It'd be interesting to hear some of your stories and see if other people relate to some of the things that you've gone through. So if you found this video useful, please hit that like button, hit subscribe. If you want to leave a comment, I would love to hear from you, especially if you tried some of these tips or if some of these ring true for you. And if you want to join our email list, we're currently giving away a free friendship guide. So you can download that and get started on creating even more friends.